I sat in the sunlit conservatory of my Chelsea townhouse, overlooking the Thames, the river's gentle flow a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside me. It had been 5 years since the divorce, 5 years of rebuilding, of turning my sketches into a thriving art gallery business, and of cherishing the time with my son, Daniel, and his little boy, Ollie. The clock on the mantel ticked steadily, a wedding gift for my late mother, each beat reminding me of the life I'd once built with Marcus. We'd met in Cambridge, me sketching the ancient spires, him buried in his numbers as an aspiring accountant. Love at first irony, he joked that evening, returning with roses. But irony had turned bitter, our marriage dissolving in a haze of arguments and his wandering eye. Now, at 62, I thought the worst was behind me. Marcus had remarried quickly, to Leela, our former nanny, of all people. She'd been young, efficient, helping with Daniel when he was a teen. I never suspected then, but hindsight painted a different picture. Custody of Daniel had never been an issue. He was an adult by the divorce. But Ollie, my grandson, precious, allergy-prone Ollie, was the light of my life. Daniel and his wife Eleanor let me see him often, especially after that terrifying incident at their wedding in Ashburner Manor, where Ollie had spotted a dangerous note under the table. I'd saved him then, my protective instincts kicking in. Little did I know I'd need them again. It started with a call from Daniel. "Mom, Dad's been asking weird questions about Ollie's school records. Says he wants to help with college funds. But Leela's pushing it too." I frowned, the unease settling like fog. Marcus had been distant, paying child support sporadically, but never deeply involved. Why now? My intuition, honed from 30 years of marriage, whispered warnings. I hired a private investigator, Thomas, the same reliable soul Mrs. Miller had recommended years ago for a business matter. Discreet and thorough, she'd said. Thomas didn't disappoint. His first report arrived via encrypted email, photos attached. There was Marcus in a sleek London cafe, huddled with Leela over stacks of papers. Her hand on his arm, too intimate for business. Another shot, them leaving a notary's office, briefcases in hand. Overheard snippets from a bugged call, Thomas was good, chilled me. These forgeries will seal it. The judge will see her as unfit, too absorbed in her art world business. Leela's laugh, sharp and calculating, and with Ollie's allergies, we can argue she's negligent. Custody to us means control of the trust fund. My heart pounded. The trust fund I'd set up for Ollie from my gallery profits? Marcus wanted custody of his grandson? Post-divorce vendetta at its ugliest. Years after our split, he and Leela plotted to paint me as an absentee grandmother, using forged medical records and school reports to contest guardianship. Daniel and Eleanor were stable, but Marcus could argue they were too busy with their careers, positioning himself and Leela as the better option. Legal intrigue wrapped in familial betrayal. I felt like that girl in Cambridge again, sketching dreams only to have them erased. I didn't confront them. No, I played the long game, just as I'd learned from life's harder lessons. I gathered evidence meticulously, snapping photos of my own, Ollie's drawings on my fridge, our weekend outings to the manor house grounds. Thomas dug deeper, more calls, where Leela sneered, "That old sketcher thinks she's untouchable in her Thames View ivory tower." Marcus chuckled, "We'll explode that myth in court." Explode. The word sparked an idea. I remembered a die pack from a security demo at my gallery, harmless but dramatic, used in anti-theft backs. It could burst on impact or pressure, staining everything indelible red, perfect for a briefcase full of forgeries. But how to swap? Opportunity knocked when Marcus invited me to a civil coffee meet, ostensibly to discuss Ollie's birthday. "Bring any updates on his allergies," he said casually. I agreed, heart racing. At the cafe, I excused myself to the restroom, accidentally knocking his briefcase. In the chaos, I slipped in the rigged envelope, disguised as a medical form, replacing one of their forged docs. The die pack was set to activate on opening, pressure sensitive. Thomas had confirmed their court date, a hearing to petition for custody review. Media would be there. Contested guardianships made headlines, especially with my minor's celebrity as a gallery owner. The day of the hearing, I sat in the back row of the courtroom, poised as a spectator. Marcus and Leela entered, smug, briefcases gleaming. The judge called the case, Roberts versus Voss, petition for guardianship modification. Marcus stood, opening his case to present evidence. Click. A muffled pop, then chaos. Red dye exploded everywhere, splattering papers, his suit, Leela's dress, even the bailiff. "What the?" Marcus yelped. The courtroom erupted. Screams, evacuation alarms blaring as security mistook it for a threat. Judges fled, media cameras flashed, capturing the red-stained forgeries fluttering like confetti. Outside, amid the pandemonium, the truth unraveled. The dye revealed alterations on the documents, watermarks mismatched, signatures forged. Police arrived, seizing the mess. Thomas's photos and recordings, anonymously tipped, sealed it. Marcus and Leela were arrested for fraud. The judge, reviewing the evidence later, dismissed their petition outright, praising my unwavering dedication to Ollie. In the aftermath, Daniel and I grew closer, co-parenting Ollie with Eleanor seamlessly. We turned the manor house weekends into traditions, sketching together by the Derbyshire Hills. And from the ashes, I wrote my memoir, Sketches of Betrayal, a bestseller that turned my pain into empowerment. I sat in the sunlit conservatory of my Chelsea townhouse, the Thames glittering below like a ribbon of forgotten promises. The current date was October 14th, 2025, and the autumn leaves swirled outside, mirroring the chaos in my mind. It had been 5 years since the divorce from Marcus, a man I'd met in Cambridge where I was sketching the elegant spires of King's College, and he was crunching numbers in a nearby cafe. "You're the artist, I'm the accountant. Perfect balance," he'd said that evening, returning with the bouquet of roses and an ironic grin about love conquering all. We'd built a life, a son, Daniel, a home overlooking the river, family events like Daniel's wedding at Ashbourne Manor in Derbyshire, where my grandson Ollie had once alerted me to a dangerous note under the table, saving himself from an allergic reaction. That protective instinct had defined me as a grandmother. But now, at 62, with my art gallery thriving, I thought the bitterness of the split was behind me. Marcus had remarried Leela, our former nanny, a young woman who'd helped with Daniel during his teens. I never suspected their affair then, but hindsight is a cruel artist, redrawing lines I wish I'd seen. The silence in the house was thick, broken only by the ticking of the old clock, a wedding gift from my late mother. Each tick accused me of naivety. Marcus had been distant since the divorce, paying sporadic support, but never deeply involved with Ollie. So when Daniel called that morning, his voice tense, it stirred something primal. "Mom, Dad's been asking odd questions about Ollie's school records and medical history. Says he wants to secure his future with the trust fund. Leela's pushing it too, talking about stability. It's weird. They've never shown this much interest." My heart skipped. Ollie, my sweet grandson with his nut allergy and boundless energy, was 8 now. Daniel and his wife Eleanor were wonderful parents, but busy with their careers, Daniel in finance, Eleanor in law. I'd set up a trust fund for Ollie from my gallery profits, ensuring his education and care. Custody wasn't an issue. Daniel had full rights. But guardianship. Marcus could petition for partial custody or influence, especially if he painted me as unfit, an absentee grandmother lost in her sketches. Post-divorce vendettas were ugly. I'd heard stories of exes using courts to settle scores. My woman's intuition, sharpened by 30 years of marriage, screamed warning. I couldn't sit idle. I contacted Thomas, the private investigator Mrs. Miller had recommended years ago. Discreet and reliable, she'd said, when I'd needed help with a business dispute. We met at a quiet cafe near the river, my hands trembling as I sipped tea. "Follow Marcus and Leela," I instructed. "I need proof if they're plotting something with Ollie's custody." Thomas nodded, his eyes philosophical. "I'll start today. Stay calm, Mrs. Voss." The first report came via secure email 2 days later. Photos. Marcus and Leela in a dimly lit London office, poring over documents. Her hand on his knee, too familiar. Another shot. Them exiting a notary's building, briefcases bulging. An audio clip from a bugged phone call. Thomas was thorough. Leela's voice, sharp and ambitious. These forged medical reports will show her negligence with all these allergies. Remember that Manor wedding incident? We can twist it, say she put him in danger. Marcus chuckled. And the school forgeries? The judge will see Juliet as too wrapped up in her Chelsea art world to be a stable influence. Custody to us means access to the trust fund. Daniel's busy, we'll argue we're the better guardians. I froze. The words piercing like shards. Forged documents? They planned to contest custody, using lies to steal Ollie and my hard-earned legacy. The trust fund was for his future, not their greed. Rage boiled, but I kept a clear head, survival instinct kicking in. I saved the files, noting dates and times. This wasn't just betrayal, it was legal warfare. Over the next week, Thomas sent more. Photos of them meeting a shady contact, a disbarred lawyer known for document fraud. Overheard calls. The petition's ready, court date in 2 weeks. Leela's voice. That old sketcher in her Thames View tower won't see it coming. Marcus. We've got the fakes. Ollie's missed doctor visits, her neglect. Explode her reputation in court. Explode. The word lingered. I recalled a security demo at my gallery. Dye packs for anti-theft. Harmless but dramatic. Bursting red ink on tampering. I ordered one discreetly, disguising it as an envelope labeled Ollie's medical update. The pack activated on opening, staining everything indelible. Perfect for revealing forgeries mid-hearing. But access? Marcus called, feigning civility. Juliet, let's meet for coffee. Discuss Ollie's birthday. Bring any allergy updates. Opportunity. I agreed, heart pounding. At the cafe, I sat in the sunlit conservatory of my Chelsea townhouse, the Thames flowing below like a ribbon of silver under the October sky. It was October 14, 2025, and the date felt ordinary, but nothing about my life had been ordinary since the divorce. The view from here had always been my sanctuary, the river's gentle curve reminding me of the winding paths in Derbyshire, where Daniel's wedding at Ashbourne Manor had unfolded like a dream-turned-nightmare. That day, my grandson Ollie had spotted a dangerous note under the table, a plot to harm him with his nut allergy. I'd acted on instinct, protecting him as any grandmother would. Now, 5 years post-divorce, that instinct surged again. The old clock on the mantel, a wedding gift from my late mother, ticked relentlessly, each beat a reminder of the life I'd built and lost with Marcus. We'd met in Cambridge, me sketching the ancient buildings, him crunching numbers at a cafe table. "You're the artist to my accountant," he'd said that evening, returning with roses and an ironic quip about love being the ultimate equation. We'd married, had Daniel, created a family, but equations unbalanced. His affair with Leela, our former nanny, shattered it all. She'd been young, helpful with Daniel during his teens while I built my gallery. I never saw the betrayal coming. The divorce was 5 years ago, and Marcus married her quickly. They lived in Kensington, flashing their new life, while I rebuilt mine. The gallery thriving, time with Daniel, Eleanor, and Ollie, my joy. The silence in the house was thick as morning fog, an unwelcome guest. Daniel's call that morning pierced it. "Mom, Dad's been asking strange questions about Ollie's school and medical records. Says he wants to secure his future with the trust fund. Leela's pushing it, talking about stability. It's off. They've never cared this much." My stomach twisted. Ollie, 8 now, with his bright eyes and allergy that kept me carrying EpiPens. The trust fund I'd set up from gallery profits was for his education, not their greed. Custody wasn't in question, Daniel had full rights, but Marcus could petition for guardianship, arguing Daniel and Eleanor were too busy, painting me as unfit, an artistic dreamer in her Thames View tower. Post-divorce vendetta, legal intrigue wrapped in familial poison. A woman's intuition, a grandmother's knowing, told me something was wrong. I couldn't sit inventing theories. I needed evidence. Hands trembling, I dialed Mrs. Miller, an old friend who'd helped with my first gallery. She'd mentioned a PI for infidelity. Thomas is discreet. Hello, Mrs. Miller. I need Thomas. It's Marcus and Leela. Something with Ollie. She paused. What's going on? Did Marcus do something? I just need the truth. She sent his number. Thomas messaged, meet at noon, small cafe downtown. The cafe had worn tables, roasted coffee scent, a comfort now foreign. I chose a corner, shadow in light. Thomas arrived, stocky, blue shirt, eyes philosophical. I handed a flash drive with suspicions. They're plotting custody contest with lies. Follow them. He nodded. I'll start this afternoon. Don't arouse suspicion. I left. Crowd walking, loneliness deep. 5 years rebuilt, now crumbling. Marcus my rock, now stranger shadowing him. Bitter irony. That night, gallery office amid stitches. Phone vibrated. Thomas. Photo of Marcus entering notary's office holding Leela's hand. She in tight black dress, heavy makeup. Lovers, not partners. Another, secluded corner, candles, toasting, his gaze tender. Chest pain. In 30 years, not like that for me lately. When young in Cambridge, yes, adoration. Now, hers. Video. Leela whispering, Marcus laughing, car door open like gentlemen. Replayed, stab each time. Leela, treated like daughter, taught family recipes. Marcus, life partner. What behind my back? Daniels? Saved all, notes on details. Early gallery days. Flashed Marcus carrying sacks, laughing in the kitchen. Dreams big. Now, distant memory. Lie lived too long. Next morning, gallery kitchen holding hotel orders. Chain expanding. Phone vibrated. Thomas. More. Photos, Marcus, gray shirt, law office exit with Leela. Beige dress, sunglasses. Walking close, couple. Hotel entrance, gleaming doors. Video, balcony, arm around waist, head on shoulder, kiss. Rented afternoon, staying night. Marcus texted, potential partner out of town. Rest. Tone caring, lie well constructed. He here, hotel with Leela. Portable drive, saved photos, videos. His tender gaze, hair caress, like me 30 years ago. Starry promises. Family gatherings, Leela far from Marcus, Daniel joking she avoided him. Farce, choreographed deception. Fool, betrayed in plain sight. Thomas captured like a hunter. Replied, thank you. Keep watching. Need everything. Will, stay calm.